Good Tavach, everybody. This is Yosef Lange, and I'm giving the Zera Shimshon shir for Parshat Tetzaveh. This is Kapitel Daled, and I'll read it inside. This is coming from a Gemara in Bava Basra, very Peladika Gemara. It says, "The Samti Kad Koit Shimshon Shayach" is quoting a pasuk in Yeshaya, and with regard to the future glory of Jerusalem, the Gemara interprets the verse, I will make your pinnacles of katkoid. It's a pasuk in Yeshaya 54:12. Rabbi Shmuel bar Nachmanian said, two angels in heaven, Gavriel and Michael, disagree with regard to the material that will be used to form the walls of Yerushalayim. And some say that this dispute is between two Amoraim in Eretz Yisrael. And who are they? They are Yehuda and Chizkiah, who are the sons of Rabbi Chia. Rabbi Chia, of course, was the prime Talmud of Rabbeinu HaKadosh, Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi. So one said that they were made of onyx, and the other one said they're going to be made of jasper. The Holy One, blessed be He, said to them, let it be like kedain or kedain. That means kad kod is translated like this and like this. Let them be formed from both together. The compromise is indicated by the word kad kod in a combination of kedain ukedain. Okay. So the Gemara says here, Tzorch iyum. Lama davka yu achaymais me'elu hashtei avanim shoyam v'yashpe. Why are these stones, the walls are supposed to be made from these two stones specifically? V'yesh l'taretz shebe'elu avanim hayu kaseh b'hem avnei hachayshin shemos Yosef o Binyamin. In the stones, the precious stones of the Chayshin, the names of Yosef and Binyamin were on these stones. And it says in the Sefer Shlita Giborim, Zera Shimshon, Shashoyam yoyel lezechira uleinayim, that the shoyham, which is the onyx, is very beneficial for remembering and for the eyes. V'hu toiv lehei hashir, and it's good to beneficial for wealth. It teaches people, that stone, wearing that stone teaches people to be melitz. The melitz means to be positive, and to speak with wisdom and to understand deep secrets. It almost brings a person close to prophecy. And this stone was given as for Yosef's tribe as a remembrance that he had great eyes. It means Ben Poires Yosef Ben Poires Aliayin. The Gemara says in Breshis, the pasuk says in Breshis, and he also had great memory. Like it says over there, Yiskor Yosef, and Yosef remembered the dreams. So he was a wise man, and he was able to determine and interpret dreams. And he had a spark of Ruach HaKodesh in this. That's close to Nevuah. Like after God told him all this stuff, he's Ish Matzliach. Paro said he's going to be very successful. Just so that in the future, when Mashiach comes, the whole world will be filled with knowledge of God, and a lot of success, and great amount of remembrance. So the walls should be made out of this stone, the onyx. Manda Amar Yashve, and the one that says that's the Yashve, the jasper, Hainu Masha Kasav Sham Harav Hanal, Shah Yashve, that means he's talking about the Shlita Giborim again, Shah Yashve Segulase Lishmar Ha'adam Shalayitnu Hasamim Hamimesim. The segula of the jasper is that they shouldn't, if he wears it, they won't give him poisonous medicines that could kill him. But Niten LeBinyamin is Karlai Zechus Imai Shielda Esechai, and it's given to Binyamin to remember that it was in the merits of his mother, Rachel, that he was born alive. But she had left from this world to the other world at the time of her birth. So he didn't get damaged, and she didn't kill him with her. The brought in the Yalka in the Parshas Be'abracha, Zaysa Bracha, on the pasuk of Bein Keseifa of Shochin. That's one of the brachas given to Binyamin. Beis Hamikdash nivna bechelkai shel Binyamin. The Beis Hamikdash was also built partially in the portion of Binyamin, the fee in the Shevet, right, his land. The fee shekol hashvatim hoyu b'mechirasei shel Yosef chutz mi Binyamin, because all of the tribes except Binyamin were trying to kill Yosef. V'im yivnu heim habayis Beis Hamikdash v'yelchu le'ispalu sham. If they build the Beis Hamikdash, if they're allowed to have their portion in the Beis Hamikdash, then when they go to pray over there, shirachim hakadosh baruch aleim lo hayu nanim. They would pray to have mercy on them. They wouldn't be answered. Why? Just like they didn't want to have mercy on Yosef, their brother. And that's why it means that the stone, the precious stone of Binyamin would be the Yashpe, the jasper, the Mashma Yesh Peh, because Yashpe is two words, Yesh and Peh. Okay, you have a mouth. Lefisha Binyamin Davka Yesh Le Peh Lehispalula Kadosh Baruch Hu Shirachem Al Yisrael. So because only Binyamin would have the capability of praying for Jewish people that they should have mercy on them. Masha'in Kain Shara Shvatim, which is not true in the rest of the Shvatim. Kadosh Baruch Hu Omar Lehavi Kedenu Kedenu. Kadosh Baruch Hu answers them, says there should be like both. Shahari Shneim B'nei Rachel, because both of them are the sons of Rachel. Rachel he hamim ha'enis lehisnachim. Rachel was refused to be comforted, like it says in the pasuk in Yirmiyah Hakasav, it says Aniya Sayara Loy Nuchama. She was unfortunately poor, poverty stricken. She wasn't going to be reconciled with that. The Samti Kadkot Shimshon Neged Shnei Baneicha, and then those two stones were connected her two children. And what's the reason why they called the walls of Jerusalem Shimshai Sayach, which means your sons? In other words, the sons, S-U-N, not S-O-N. Just like the sun, everybody uses the light of the sun. So the Goyim will use the light of the walls of Jerusalem. They're like the sun. It says Gemara in Bava Basra. Kadosh Baruch is going to make a sukkah for the tzaddikim from the skin of the Leviathan, right? The Leviathan, whatever that is, some big fish, I don't know. If they're privileged, they'll become a sukkah, become a cape over them, right? If they're not privileged, then they will have a little necklace on them. If they're privileged, they'll get a huge chain. Okay, this is a previous Gemara in Bava Basra. I'll go over it. Zacha aisim lo tzalzo, lo zacha aisim lo anak. Shneimar anakim gagrei seich. So it says, if one is deserving at least of this reward, his covering, a covering is prepared for him, total covering. And if one is not deserving, a necklace is prepared for him. As it is stated, the necklace is about your neck. That's a pasuk in Proverbs. Mishlei. If one is somewhat deserving, a necklace is prepared for him. And if one is not deserving even of this, only an amulet will be prepared for him. From the skin of the Leviathan, as it's stated, or you will bind him for your maidens. A small amulet is prepared for him, like the amulets tied on children's necks. Next where it says, Tikshereno linare sayech. And then the Zera Shimshon continues. It says, the remaining of the skin of the Leviathan is going to be spread over the walls of Jerusalem. And And the shine, the radiance from this skin will go from one end of the world to the other. And says the pasuk in Yeshaya and Samach, and the nations shall walk in your light, and the kings at the brightness of your rising. Fortunately, there is a segula in the Zera Shimshon in the English version of Nathan Seltzer. I'm reading from the second edition. It says the segula of the Zera Shimshon, Rav Shmuel Wiener, a pseudonym, gives a regular shur on Zera Shimshon in Yerushalayim Beis Midrash. Recently, he shared the following sequence of events. Knowing as much as I do about the Sefer, sometimes I share this information with my friends. One such friend lives in Lakewood, and I told him about the big schus that I have to learn and teach a Zera Shimshon, a Sefer that is doing much for Klal Yisrael. Apparently, my words touched the chord because he began learning the Sefer as well. I didn't think any more about the whole thing. But then he called me up to tell me about the Yeshua of a friend of his in which he had played a part. Reb Shmuel, he said to me, once I started learning the Sefer, I found I also wanted to share its beautiful Torah with the other people around me. One of my friends is a chavrus, chashuva bacher, who had been dating for years, what one might call an alter bacher. Since he had been going out locally for so many years without results, his family consulted shadchanim in other countries to see if he could come up with any ideas to help their son. Those phone calls resulted in my friend traveling across the ocean quite a few times to meet girls who lived on the other side of the world. But no matter how he tried, no matter how many girls he dated, nothing worked out, and he was still single. That doesn't mean he gave up, but suffice it to say it was not easy since his hopes had been dashed time after time. Yet he kept his head up, and he did his best to believe that the Yeshua lay just around the corner. Having heard about the Sefer Zera Shimshon from you and being enamored with it myself, I decided to let my friend in on the secret, advising him to begin setting aside time to learn it every single day. Now listen to this. A few weeks after he had started learning the Sefer, something incredible happened without any undue work on his part. A shadchan called him up out of the blue and read him a shidduch with a wonderful family who, get this, lives in his own neighborhood. Not only did he live in his neighborhood, but both the boy's family and the girl's family lived in the same apartment building. After having traveled across the globe in search of his wife, she was sitting a few floors away from where he'd been the entire time. It wasn't long before the two of them got engaged b'shah tova mutzlachas. I just want to conclude that in the relatively short time since I began learning and teaching the Sefer, I have heard stories from many, many people of how they saw great Yeshuas in their lives after learning Zera Shimshon, even for a brief length of time. May all who learn this worthy Sefer see great bracha in their lives from the holy sage who gave us this wonderful gift. When it comes to the Zera Shimshon, everyone involved knows that there's an incredible degree of mida keneged mida with every aspect of this Sefer. It's almost as if Reb Shimshon Chaim was saying to the brand new chassan, you decided to bring my Torah into your house, and I will show you that what has been hiding in your very own apartment building, so that you will finally be able to build a beautiful new home of your very own. Shah toivu mutzlachas. Have a happy Purim. A freilichem Purim.